Welcome to Soap Hub Says. I'm Alina Adams, Soap Hub writer and author of the tie-in books Oakdale Confidential and The Man from Oakdale for As the World Turns, and Jonathan's Story for Guiding Light.
And I'm Amber Sinclair, managing editor of SoapHub.com. We'll be here every week talking about what we loved, what we hated, and what we have questions about for every show.
So Amber and I, we have a confession to make. We're going to open this with a confession. So we spent weeks, months, felt endless, tagging on Billy on The Young and the Restless, having a podcast. What was it? The Grinning Soul? Was that what it was? I think it was The Grinning Soul. And for a while there, remember there was a couple of weeks when everybody was talking about, for some reason, I remember Jack's granddaughter, Allie, saying, oh, and I have to listen to this podcast. It was a really hot thing for a hot minute. I don't think it was ever mentioned again. And we mocked and we mocked and we mocked. And we have a podcast now. So I guess if Billy wants to come mock us, he can. But first, we're going to talk about The Young and the Restless, because that is the show that sort of has our attention this week, as in, okay, I'm going to say Dumas. You say Dumas. 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 Dumas? Dumas? Who's Dumas?
Like, just enough. Just give him to us at this point, or just let the storyline fade away.
Well, first of all, are they trying to be particularly literary? Because, you know, Alexander Dumas, who wrote The Three Musketeers, and Aristotle, I guess are they trying to suggest we're supposed to think this is like Aristotle Onassis, you know, some secret, mysterious billionaire? But all I know so far is they've repeated his name so much. You know how when you repeat the same word over and over again, it doesn't have any meaning anymore? I think that's where we are with Alexander Dumas. Meanwhile, Phyllis is even freaking out more than usual for Phyllis, and this time it's about Alexander Dumas. I gotta say, okay, not Alexander Dumas, sorry, Aristotle Dumas. I keep calling him Alexander Dumas because I keep thinking the writer of The Three Musketeers is going to show up, which would be cool. That would be new, and that would be different.
That would be new and exciting, yes.
That would be time travel, although to be fair, Guiding Light did do time travel, and Santa Barbara had traveled through a magic mirror, and I think some other shows have done time
Days
travel.
of Our Lives said that year jump ahead.
Okay, that's actually a good point. Are they still a year ahead? I kind of want to hear from them what's going on.
Right? Like, they never addressed it. It's just
they
like
never addressed it, and I feel like they've synced up with real world events again, so maybe we lost a year somewhere. But anyway, Young and the Restless, we have to be thinking about Young and the Restless now. So Phyllis comes to Victor with an offer that they're gonna, I guess, team up against Billy with Dumas, and he blew her off because Victor. Now I know you love Victor. I know, and I'm not.
I do. I have him on my body.
Yeah, you need to show the world what you have on your body. Show the world.
So I met Eric Braden at a Comic-Con, and he signed his book for me. So I took the autograph and I got it tattooed.
So as I was saying, you really love Victor.
Yeah. So I meet him again at the end of the month, and I'm hoping he doesn't notice, because how do you explain it, right? I never thought I'd have to explain the tattoo.
That's what I want to know. So let's table the show for a while. So you're meeting with Eric Braden. It's summer. How are we covering up our tattoo?
We're not, because it's summer, and also it's at a Comic-Con. So since I can go a bit unhinged, I ordered a peachy cream and white dress that has a train that is not a wedding dress, okay? It just looks suspiciously like it could be. And then I didn't feel like it was like big enough, so I ordered a petticoat to go underneath it, so it'll look like a princess gown, because it is Comic-Con. It's Comic-Con.
It is Comic-Con. People dress up all sorts of ways.
Because the last time I met him was also at a Comic-Con, and while I was standing in line to get the pictures taken, there was a woman, and she was standing there in a full-on wedding dress. And I was like, my God, that is genius. The man is my TV dad. I could have like a daddy-daughter.
Well, I was going to say, but you're going to marry your TV dad? Now it's getting a little hinky again.
No, I want it to look like he's giving me away, you know? Just make it look like you're giving me away. Like, because he'd want to if I was actually.
No, I understand you have a plan. I'm glad. For a minute, I thought you might not have a concrete, logical, and rational plan.
Right. Yeah, no, it's totally.
But meanwhile, speaking of
rational plan.
Speaking of logical and rational, so that obviously describes Phyllis on The Young and the Restless. Logical.
Totally.
As I was watching that scene where she was doing whatever it is Phyllis does, I do not understand why the show has never put Victor and Phyllis together. And I mean, the logical reason is because she was with Nick, but like that's ever stopped Victor before. Sharon. But they're both the same. They're both completely convinced that they're right and
All
the
the
rest
time.
of the world is wrong. So that's my pitch. My pitch today is going to be Phyllis and Victor, the ultimate, forget Nikki, Phyllis and Victor are the ultimate super couple. What do you think?
I wrote a commentary, like a speculation commentary about that like a week and a half ago.
Mhm.
Because I was like, will this scheming lead to romance? Because I want to see it.
Because
Okay.
they're perfect for each other. They're both completely deranged.
Can you imagine them as a couple? Like they would just light everything on fire.
And they totally feed each other's insanity. Like
And
say, oh, you're
narcissism.
absolutely right. Yes, exactly. It'll be you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. No, their biggest problem, Victor and Phyllis, has been that whenever they're with people, even Nikki, is at a certain point, even Nikki says, no, enough. You're a psychotic man. I'm not going to be with you for 6 minutes and then we'll get back together again. But that won't happen with Victor and Phyllis. They will obviously say, you're the greatest. No, you're the greatest. And that's going to be it. So
They'll
I
try
don't
to break up with each other and kidnap each other instead to keep each other.
Yeah. And they would lock up people in their basements. And unlike that horrible Michael who said, you know what, this is illegal and you might actually get into trouble for this. So I, as your lawyer, I'm going to help get you out of this problem. Phyllis would go, yeah, give her more Brussels sprouts.
Right? She'd like poison the Brussels sprouts.
Exactly. She'd yes and. They'd be the perfect relationship for improv, whatever he said. Brussels sprouts, yes and poisoned Brussels sprouts. So that's our pitch to the fine people at The Young and the Restless. And from there we go from the perfect couple to a couple that makes no sense and they're not even a couple anymore. Do you remember when Kyle said, our little Kyle, the one who whenever things doesn't go his way, he like furrows his brow and his chin starts to shake and it looks like he's about to have a temper tantrum. Our little itty bitty Kyle thinks he can play Audra. He told Claire that he's gonna outsmart Audra. How cute is that?
Watched him say that and I was like, are you aware of who you are and who she is?
It's like it's not like even apples and oranges. I think they're different species.
No, my dude, you can't outsmart an orange, okay? Like,
I feel now we should get Kyle a T-shirt that says "You can't outsmart an orange."
like
So
how is
we look forward
outsmart
to
Audra?
seeing we look forward to seeing to what Kyle thinks he can do. Oh, but here's another example. Claire was there going, "You're wonderful." See, that's the kind of relationship Phyllis and Victor would have.
Yes.
Completely delusional, both of them
It's
completely
so
delusional.
delusional. The fact that anybody would even believe that Audra would want someone like Kyle.
It's like a child. Doesn't it almost feel like at one point she's like, do you want a child? I mean, I'm not going to call it molestation because he's a big boy and he keeps telling us he's a big boy. And
He's a
whenever
very
his mommy and daddy don't suggest he's a big boy, he stomps his little foot and says he is a big boy. So he's a big
boy. He's
legal.
gonna get his own place.
He is any minute now, and maybe even a job that his family didn't give him. No,
I know.
no. But anyway, so
He's-
Kyle is a big boy,
full-grown
so
big
it's
man.
not like Audra is committing no crimes because Kyle is a big boy. But the mere fact that Kyle, A, like you said, thinks she'd be interested in him, and B, thinks he can use that interest to play her is not right.
No, it's not. No.
And this is our big sweep story, I guess. Is this our story for sweeps? Because I assume that party Claire is throwing is going to be our sweeps party.
I think that's going to be the introduction to Dumas. I
Hopefully,
don't
or
see any other way for him to enter the picture.
yeah.
But I swear, if he walks on and they're like, "Oh my God, Kane."
Oh, you think it's Kane?
Well, they were the way Amanda has been talking about Dumas and his affection for Lily and his drive for revenge against Billy. Now, Daniel Goddard's on General Hospital, so like unless this is a big bait and switch, Billy Flynn will probably be Dumas.
Right, Billy Flynn, who's currently on Days of Our Lives, but
Right.
they taped so far ahead that he's probably done now. Okay, so you think it'll be Dumas and you think it'll be Billy Flynn.
Yes, yeah, which might be a nice fresh spin on Kane. Not that we don't love Daniel Goddard.
Well, you think he'll be Kane playing Dumas? I mean, you think Billy Flynn will be playing Kane playing Dumas? I ran out of verbs there. Yeah.
Under a new name, because I mean, didn't Kane disappear to go find everybody's money? That is
Yes,
death.
well, no, it was the money I think he was accused of stealing, and he went and he was going to find out, he was going to prove that he didn't steal it, and bye.
And then we never heard from him or the money again.
All right, so this is the sweep story, but we agreed last week, and I think we'll agree this week, that the show that's killing it in sweeps is Beyond the Gates.
So much so. The IVF stuff.
Okay, well here's I have two thoughts. I have two thoughts, and I've been thinking about this a lot. So first and foremost, they told us repeatedly, remember how people kept saying, "Oh, Kat, how did you know that Eva was up to all this stuff? You must have some kind of a psychic connection because you were born only 2 weeks apart." I've been watching soaps for a really long time, and I feel like that's an anvil that's been dropped on my head. I could be wrong. It could be an accident. But then they also tell us that Eva was conceived at around the time when Nicole kept having all these miscarriages, right? They were having fertility problems. In fact, that's Ted's excuse for why he went off with Leslie, because his wife was such a bummer, being sick and sad and bleh. So, how could you have expected him to be supportive when his wife was all sick and sad and bleh? So,
Right?
it makes me wonder whether they did IVF and whether Leslie Dana, whatever her name is, stole one of the embryos, and Eva and Kat really are twins, or at least they would have been from the same batch. For lack of a better term, because the fact is the DNA test did show that Eva was Ted's. But my follow-up questions, this is what I do. I sit around and I think about things like this. My follow-up question, everybody says, "Oh, she has the DNA test," and they keep passing that piece of paper around. Eva worked in Ted and Nicole's house. Has it not crossed the mind of a single human being that and Kat lives there, that she went into Kat's room and, I don't know, took some hairs off of Kat's hairbrush? I think about it. But here's the thing. I've been watching soaps for 40 years. They don't know they're on a soap.
This is true.
This is true. But here's one more thing. As I said, I've been thinking about this a lot. Cut me off at any point, because otherwise I could go on and on and on. So we've been saying how Beyond the Gates has been killing it this month, especially the last 2 weeks. But here's a question I have overall for Beyond the Gates. Where's the romance?
Yeah. We saw, the show kicked off with a wedding, and we haven't even seen romantic sides of
There's
that.
no one really to root for, because all of the couples were kind of already together when the show premiered. I mean, now Ted and Nicole have fallen apart, but they were together, and Bill and Haley kicked off with a wedding. And then think about this. So we already had Naomi and Jacob married when the show premiered. But wouldn't it have been much better if the first time they met was when Jacob came to arrest her mom for, the wedding and trying to shoot Naomi's dad and Haley. And of course, there's instant animosity because that's how this game is played. And Naomi says, "Oh, you're so horrible. How dare you do your job and arrest my mother for shooting people in an open room?" But then a few weeks pass and he calls her in to say, "Oh, I have this homeless woman who needs a lawyer." And now they start working together. And now she sees Jacob in a whole new light. And now we have a relationship. And now we have romance. And now we have a couple to root for. Here, it's just ipso facto. They're already together. Same thing, Andre. Okay. So Andre loves, putting loves in big quotation, loves Ashley. But it was presented to us as something that had already happened. Why not? Remember when they delivered that baby in the elevator? In fact, the minute a pregnant woman got in the elevator, my husband's like, "Oh, that's not good." Because there's no one on soaps, no one pregnant on soaps. Actually, no one takes elevators on soaps unless it's going to get stuck. But what if, so you have Andre, he's this major player. We know this because, he's friends with benefits with Danny. He's, a journalist who travels all around the world. Let's assume he has a girl in every port. So he's always been sort of footloose and fancy free and not very serious. And then he delivers a baby with Ashley, and suddenly he sees this serious woman doing serious work, and it's real and it's meaningful, and that starts a relationship. But everything we've been given, we're not even in media res. We're not in the middle of the story. We're like at the end of the story. We're past happily ever after.
We need a slow burn.
We need a slow burn. I mean, Danny and Andre might do it if they got rid of that whole, why is Andre interested in Ashley? I don't know. What is the point of this story? But we need some couple to root for. And I mean, Martin and Smitty have been married for a long time. Everyone is over. Ashley and Derek have been together forever. Although, can someone explain to me how now that they've moved in together, they're like, "We can't share a bed because you snore or you kick"? Has he never spent the night ever?
I actually thought that too. I was like, did you not know this?
It's a weird thing to sort of hark on because you've never spent a weekend at her place or
Right.
you at his. It's very, very strange. So while Beyond the Gates has their family drama is on point, I do not have a couple that's worth rooting for, and that's such a huge part of what soaps are all about.
Speaking of people to root for, Bold and the Beautiful. Hi, where's Ivy?
Australia? That's always my default for
You bring us back Ivy. You have her kiss Liam, be like, I want to be with you. And then you have her move back, and then nothing. And then nothing.
What would you want to see? What would you want to see Ivy do?
Well, Ivy is one of the girls that doesn't know Liam's dying.
Okay.
So
I love how there's a list. One of the girls that like there's been an official press release and she didn't get it.
Well, like Hope and Steffi are both in the know, and now Hope is like, I want to be with Liam. Like, can we just say poor Carter is losing a girl to a dying man? Okay, Carter cannot win.
But you know, that's a rivalry that theoretically is going to naturally end.
Right. Like, just hold on a little bit, Carter. You'll get your turn.
Exactly. Why rush it? It's, in fact, be nice. You know, go, oh, you should. You should totally be with him, Hope, because he's dying. And, you know, next weekend, when he's gone, I have tickets.
To see Ivy try to throw her hat in the ring, not knowing Liam's dying.
Oh, but what about his little hat? Won't you be able to tell from his little
more upset that he keeps turning her down because she doesn't understand why. And then let Ivy's crazy come out a little bit. What if she spins out, becomes completely obsessed with him, and kidnaps him to Quinn's cabin, not knowing the poor man is dying? And then everyone thinks that Liam just disappeared to go off somewhere and die alone.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Right? I think that'd be fun.
Should Finn forgive Luna if we're talking about other people?
See, here's the thing. I got kids, you got kids. Okay? There's a lot I can forgive my kids for. Killing 2 men? Yeah, okay. They weren't part of my family. It's fine.
I support you in working through what caused that.
I support you in working through your trauma, paying your dues. But my kidnapping my wife and trying to kill her? I don't know.
So would you, if you were Finn?
I think it would be fun to see Finn sneaking around behind Steffi's back getting to know his child. But I also think that it would be way more fun for Sheila and Luna to kidnap Steffi. Jacqueline McKenwood needs to go on maternity leave soon anyway. Congrats on the 5th baby.
Yeah,
we can't wait. If they kidnap her and then Finn thinks she left him, it would leave room for him to get to know his mother and daughter. And then, then it would completely destroy the relationship later, knowing that his daughter kidnapped his wife like twice.
Yeah. I mean, once you can forgive, rather. So you have kids, I have kids. Maybe once you can forgive, but twice begins to look like a pattern, sweetie.
Like once I think I would sit down and give them the I'm so disappointed lecture,
It's not that you're mad. We both went to the same place. I'm not mad. I'm just, help me understand why you felt you needed to make that decision.
Right? Yeah, we can gentle parent through the first time. The second time, though, I'm
starting to feel that you're trying to tell me something, honey. What do you think it is that you're trying to tell me? So would this be your sweeps story for the Bold and the Beautiful kidnapped Steffi?
I think, Liam dying or not dying is probably going to go on for a little bit, I feel like. Because, Wyatt's not back in town. They're not killing Liam without Wyatt in town. So I think the sweep story has to be something with Steffi, and it's going to come out of left field. And that's probably why they're setting Steffi up to forgive Hope and put Hope back at Forrester Creations and sort of, make everything right. And all these ducks are getting in a row in Steffi's life. She has Finn moved into the house. Super fun. You're excellent with your new man. Awesome. Can we talk about how strong Finn is? Because there's no way you're moving your ex into my house. I don't care.
You don't gentle parent through that.
No, that's a pack your bag. You can go live with them. You're not moving that into my house. Carter's losing his girl to a dying man. Finn is losing his house to a dying man. All these
dying man is taking over a lot of things.
He really is. For Liam to be like, I don't want to disrupt anyone's life. You're disrupting everyone.
He doesn't want to disrupt anyone's life. He wants to disrupt everyone's life.
Right?
So it's even. Spread the love. Why can't he go live at his dad's or something? I mean, I'm sure Bill can hire staff. If he needs nursing staff, I'm sure Bill can make that happen.
Right? I'm sure Finn has recommendations, But I think that the sweeps will end with Steffi going missing.
Yeah, you think?
I think. Like, I don't know how else you're going to explain the maternity leave.
Right. Well, I mean, they're so used to it. As you said, it's her fifth baby. They know.
Yeah.
People know Steffi just disappears. It's like on Santa Barbara. Back in the day, Lane Davies had it in his contract that he left every summer to do like a Shakespeare festival that he was involved with. So every summer you knew Mason was going to disappear. It was just a matter of how he was going to disappear.
Oh, we need to talk about Days of Our Lives.
All right, let's talk about Days of Our Lives. I know you have thoughts.
Okay. I've been trying so hard to like Johnny and Chanel as a couple. I have tried so hard to root for them. They just don't fit for me. I loved her with Allie. I am a Chally stan. Okay. I need Allie to come back. I need her to steal her woman back from her brother. Okay. That's what I need. And maybe
she could come back with Ari. I mean, Allie's been living in Australia
yeah.
with Will and Sonny and Ari. So I mean, she's not young. I guess she's going to be a teenager now, but Ari needs someone to escort her back to America.
Right.
And if her dads are too busy, then I think Aunt Allie should really bring her back to Salem.
Bring her back to Salem with that baby that she has of Alex's probably, which I think.
Do you think that's it? Because I was actually just thinking, if she comes back, Alex might be excited because, there's another threesome on the horizon, but you think she has Alex's baby?
I think, wouldn't that be fun that the threesome that they had ended in a pregnancy?
And then it would be like all three of them. Oh, Chanel wants a baby so badly.
There we go.
She can claim that since the baby was conceived during the threesome, it's hers too.
Yeah.
We've solved all the problems. We've solved all the problems.
Right there. Everything's worked out.
Well, speaking of Chanel, they've been putting her in Xander's orbit quite a bit. Yeah. And Paulina even referenced the fact that they used to be married. Now, it was just for money and it was a different actress at the time. But as we know, this is a soap. Different actress doesn't count. It still was Chanel. Chanel and Xander schemed together. They got married specifically to get some money. Paulina just brought that up. They keep having Chanel and Xander in each other's orbit. Do you think they're going there?
As much as I don't like Johnny and Chanel, I love Sarah and Xander. Okay.
Do you?
I love them together so much, but I also really loved Xander and Gwen.
Really?
Yeah. So either of those two.
Okay, but not a Chanel redux. Even if because you're saving Chanel for Allie, you don't care.
Yeah.
Nothing else
would it be fun? Yeah. Does he look way too, does he not, I shouldn't say look way too old for her. I'm so sorry, Paul Telford. That's not what I meant. Oh my God. No, I mean like the character is like in this age group. And Chanel and Johnny are sort of in this age group. But not that that's ever mattered on soaps.
Yeah, and they did have them married at one point. So it's not like we're picking two random people. The fact is the show had them together at one point. So, it doesn't matter on soaps. I mean, I'm just trying to think of some of the other ages on soaps, and no, I don't think so.
Can you imagine if they got together? He would be using that bakery as a crime den.
And Sarah would stop by to tell him what he was doing wrong while keeping her own secrets. I mean, Sarah's always been a wee bit of a hypocrite, but this one is sort of blatant. It's like, I'm going to yell at my husband for not being honest with me as I go around town going, psh, nobody tell my husband that I'm not being honest with him, but I'm good. You see, I've been labeled, there's boxes, and I've been put in the good box. So everything I do, I'm a doctor, and I lied to him about the baby that I was having. I kept it a secret, but I am good. My mother is Maggie, and she is good. Ergo, I am genetically good. You are bad, and Xander has done bad things. I mean, let's not pretend that Xander
as the son of Victor, I would assume, just naturally in his DNA.
Right, exactly. He's in the box that is called bad. So whatever we do the same thing, Sarah's is good and Xander's is bad. So, although to be fair, one of my favorite sort of soap setups, this was a few years ago, was when Sarah found out that Xander had switched babies. This was back before. Oh. And that lead up to that wedding was actually one of my favorite soap lead ups. It was not the first time, obviously. There have been times, but it was one of the few times on a soap where I literally had no idea where it was going. When she went to the wedding, knowing that Xander had switched, Mickey with Rachel, and I did not know what she was going to do. So that was fabulous.
Do you know what I find poor little Rachel. Poor little Rachel has had so many parents already.
She has.
And none of them are trying to touch her at all.
With every incarnation, her parents get worse. She started off with Sarah, thinking she was really her mother, and then Xander pretending to be the father. Then she got Sarah and Eric. I mean, Eric is very self-righteous, but he's a good guy. But then she ended up with Kristen, which would not be an upgrade for anyone. And Brady. I mean, Brady's cool. And then, I think Kristen was in jail on and off.
But then she got alcoholic Brady for a bit.
Yeah, she had alcoholic Brady for a while. And now she has Brady very busy with Tate, which is legit. But it's Kristen who is not a good parent. And there's soap characters who are not good people, but they are good parents. You do
Victor
get that.
Newman. And when he's not attacking his children.
Exactly. When Victor Newman is not telling his children what to do and disowning them for not obeying him and not ragging on them for not loving him enough, he is a peach. He really is. He's a
super
dream.
supportive.
He's super supportive as long as they do exactly what he wants them to do.
Do not deviate one single step.
You got that. You got that. Then he's totally supportive. So it is possible to be a character on a soap who's a rotten human being, but a good
Carly's
parent.
a rotten human being on General Hospital, and she is a great mother.
Well, and Kristen is not that. Because Kristen is first, she tells her daughter to hate all the women that her daddy is dating, which doesn't make for a happy child. I mean, just stuff like that. Then she lets her get away with little itty bitty things like kidnapping. Her child was party to a kidnapping, and she gives her a little pat on the head and says, "Oh, what a chip off the old block. You're so wonderful. Kristen's not."
Come get a snacky.
Yeah, let's have cake. Let's have cake and dress up like Alice in Wonderland because you
let's
are
get
wonderful.
a sweet treat. They wonder. The fandom is all like, "This Rachel's a brat." Yeah, she's a brat. Look at what this poor child has gone through.
Yeah, no, she's definitely
has 30,000 parents, and she can't even take enough pieces of them to make a whole one.
That's what we should do. We should get Rachel Frankenparent.
Yeah.
We should take little bits and pieces from everyone and get her one decent Frankenparent.
Just one decent Frankenparent. All right.
So you were saying that you think Carly's a good mother on General Hospital?
For the most part. Okay. Now, for soaps, Carly's a great mother. For real life, questionable. But
there's the kid who got shot in the head. There's the one who got shot in the head because of her fondness for mobsters. There's the kid who got blown up in the car. Then
all right.
Then there's just...
I mean, she's a great mother to Joss.
She is very supportive of her daughter's ridiculous thoughts.
Yeah. Like, I mean, she misses...
She does. She does. And she wants to be... Here's the thing. She's such a good mother. She has so much love to give that she wants to mother all the children. Like, she thinks that she should be Avery's mother because Ava bad, Carly good.
Yes.
So she wants Avery. She also thinks she would be a much better parent for, I'm trying to think, probably Scout. She probably thinks she'd be a better parent for Scout from when she and Drew were together. She definitely thinks she'd be a better parent for Wiley and Amelia Grace than Willow and Drew. She's like, maybe it's like Pokemon. Maybe it's collect them all. Maybe she needs to collect all the children in town and then she gets some kind of a...
They should just, she should just she should make Bobby's a daycare.
She should. Like at one point, remember Monica's house was basically a daycare. Everybody kept dropping their kids off there. So no wonder Sasha is terrified. Although it's not really, here's the thing, Sasha, sweetie, honey. I realize that you don't want anyone to know that the baby is Michael's because of the whole dynamic there. But here's the thing. If you claim the baby is Jason's, and believe me, Sasha, it's very easy to get Jason to claim to be your kid's father. He did it for Sam with Lila. He did it for Carly with Michael. So believe it, Sasha, you haven't achieved anything extraordinary. It's a pretty easy thing. But here's the thing. Carly thinks that all children of Jason's belong to her too. So Sasha isn't really saving her baby from Carly because that's also something that Carly claims.
She might as well just give birth and hand it to Carly at that point.
She might as well. Kind of the same way that Drew wants Willow's kids, wants to take them away from Michael. Has he seen Scout lately? Has he mentioned poor dead Oscar? Remember the kids he actually had?
Yeah. Drew, I don't have a lot of nice things to say about Drew.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Drew is reminding Willow subconsciously of Shiloh, the cult leader.
Yes.
Because Willow was brought up in a cult and taught to worship this powerful man who had complete power over her. And I don't think she's consciously thinking, oh, Drew reminds me of Shiloh. But I think subconsciously that's what's going on here. And it makes sense that Drew would want to be a cult leader because he's a congressman, right? Be a politician.
No, for
That
real.
clearly means you want to be a cult leader. You just don't want to work that hard. So this all fits together. Drew, congressman, cult leader, Willow, raised in cult.
Also, I saw a fan theory a couple weeks ago that Drew is really Shiloh and he's had plastic surgery to look like Drew.
Really? Okay.
And I was like, maybe.
So maybe the punishment is to give the kids to Nina because A, it will make Carly's head explode.
Yes.
It'll make Drew's head explode. And for Nina, it will actually make up for the fact that she lost, poor dead Psycho Nell and Willow back in the day.
I'm just saying, wouldn't it also be fun if Nina was pregnant with Drew's baby?
It would be very interesting. But hey, science, who needs science? This is a soap opera. You're right. Yes. But didn't they have sex a long time ago? Like, shouldn't she have
too long ago.
months and
Have them
months
have
ago?
like just a wee little affair.
Okay, but then they'd need another quick, bonk. And then, yes, I just think it's been like a really long time. I think that ship has sailed in more ways than one.
Poor thing.
So we have Drew the congressman and we have Laura the mayor. And so here's Laura the mayor. So I started watching General Hospital like I think many, many other people did the summer of 1980, Luke and Laura on the run. Luke and
The
Laura
year I
were
was born.
All right, now you're just yes. I never hide my age, so I was
love
watching.
you.
I was not 40 when I was watching it. I was still a child. I was still in elementary school, but yes, I was watching the summer of 1980. And Luke and Laura went on the run, and they did that in order to bring down a mobster by the name of Frank Smith. They did not like the fact that Port Charles had been taken over by a mob. And you know who is in mobs? Mobsters. And you know who runs mobsters? Mob leaders. You know what Sonny is? Sonny is a mobster. And Laura, Mayor Laura, the same Laura who went on the run the summer of 1980 when I was still in elementary school, is begging Sonny to not give up his criminal ways because then bad mobsters will come. Well, actually, as mayor, it's kind of her job to make sure that no mobsters run the city, but she would like Sonny to remain mobbing because his mobbing is good.
So, it's like she's tiered the mobsters, right? Like, bad mobster here, mobster here. And then, there's Sonny, who's like, you're a mobster, but you treat me well. So you're an okay mobster.
Exactly. As if, she's afraid that there will be no one to take this position and there will be an opening. I'm pretty sure Selena Wu would be delighted
I love
to
her.
take over the mobster. I love her too. And in
Love
fact,
her.
it might even be more fun because you know what? She's not self-righteous.
No.
And she doesn't justify her mobbiness by saying, first it was he had a bad childhood, right? His stepfather was abusive. His father abandoned him. His stepfather was abusive. And then he has to be the mobster because if he's not the mobster, who will do good things in town? Who will donate the Stone Kate's
Who's going to
memorial?
provide the coffee?
Who's going to provide the coffee? Well, we have a theory at our house is that coffee is not illegal, and they've told us over and over again that Sonny, he doesn't run drugs. Okay, he doesn't run drugs. He's against that. He appears to not run women, even though when we first met him, he was running a strip club where he was drugging an underage girl to strip for him.
Yeah.
But since then, I guess he doesn't do sex workers. He doesn't do drugs. We don't think he has much control over unions, so it's not like he's running workers. So this is my husband's theory. He thinks Sonny illegally imports cigarettes. He thinks Sonny is selling cigarettes illegally. That's the best we've been able to come up with.
Cigarettes and cigars.
Cigarettes and cigars from Cuba. There you go. He's breaking the sanctions on Cuba, and that's what he does.
No, but yeah, what is Sonny still? Is he running weaponry?
Well, no, he's not, because you remember that time
Yeah.
Carly was shocked to find out that guns were a part of mob life?
Right. Yeah,
Right.
so he's not even doing that.
Because Carly's against guns, so how would she possibly be with someone who would use guns? The mob doesn't use guns, does it? I mean, it's mostly just glowering.
Yeah, now that...
Remember how shocked Carly was to find out that weapons might be involved in mobbing?
What do you mean you use a gun?
So those are our thoughts.
No, they kill their enemies with Play-Doh, Carly.
Oh, Play-Doh. But maybe they make guns out of Play-Doh. Pew, pew, pew.
They start throwing Nerf balls at each other.
Oh, have you ever seen there's a movie called what is it, the one where it's their kids and like Jodie Foster's in it and Scott Baio? It's a movie where they're gangsters and instead of machine guns they throw cream Bugsy Malone. Bugsy Malone.
Oh, right.
They throw cream pies at each other. Maybe they'll go to Bobby's and they'll get cream pies and they'll throw them at each other for sweeps.
That would be perfect. All right, well, that's it for now. I'm Amber Sinclair, managing editor of Soap Hub. You can find me here every week or on TikTok under the username Destroy the Canvas, where I showcase my silly little art.
And I'm Alina Adams. My soapy historical fiction novel, Go On Pretending, is available now wherever books are sold. Check it out on alinaadams.com.
And we'll see you all next week. And if you like what you heard today, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure to check out soaphub.com for all our fun articles, recaps, and most of all, spoilers. Okay.